So, let's talk, shall we, as EA has released their first big roster update of the year, right? Their first big roster update of the year. And here, allow me to plug in the old Stream Deck that I forgot to plug in here so we can jump back and forth between this view and the game itself. So, right, we go over here, right? Roster updates out. Again, first big roster update since the season has started. Their first roster update, I guess, since December 16th, which had a couple of minor changes. This roster update, if you are a roster editor like myself, is probably worth using if you haven't started updating anything, because it's very, very transaction heavy, is how I'm going to describe it. Because aside from that, it's an unmitigated disaster, in my opinion. From what we can tell, and I say we because I was talking to buddy of mine, Tactics, who you probably know. Yeah, there have been no overall changes, at least for major NHL players, from that we can tell. Which means Dougie Hamilton is still the same rating as Rasmus Ristolainen. Mackenzie Weegar and Mark Stahl are both 78 overalls. Of course, Drew Doughty's still a 91, Jared Spurgeon's an 84, and then again, my favorite thing here is, and look, I don't know what the hell their process is, what hoops they might have to jump through, but you do get the addition of players like Kirill Kaprizov, and they don't even have player photos, which means there is literally no difference between adding them in yourself and waiting for this update. Nothing. So, the only thing this update really goes to achieve is getting the players into the right place, which again, if you're like myself, you could have been doing for this past little bit. And of course, for those of you who know, like I have been doing it for this past little bit, the roster editing doc for this year is already up to 96 pages, because again, this is, in my opinion, by far the worst state that the rosters have been in at launch and in the subsequent months ever, really, since I've been doing this here. Again, I could sit here and go through and tell you how I think it's absurd that Shesterkin has like 20 NHL games and is an 86 compared to Semyon Varlamov, who, I mean, Jesus Christ. And of course, Ilya Sorokin gets an 80. Again, he's played one game, as far as I know, got absolutely shelled, but that's the reason why you don't overrate players coming over from the KHL. Kind of set a hard cap of like a 76, 78 to play it safe, because you never know who's going to struggle and who isn't. And of course, no disrespect to Corey Schneider, but he's a 78 overall still. It's a mess. It's just a mess. That's my review of this. It's a mess. You get the right players into the right spots. That's about it. Yeah, Dustin Byfuglien still there. Jimmy Howard's still there. Don't really know why. You have someone like Chad Johnson, which, you know what? Here, let's go over here. I like Chad Johnson, former Bruins goaltender Chad Johnson. Yeah, big fan. But Chad Johnson is an 80 overall, and here are his stats. In 18-19, first of all, he hasn't played in forever, but 18-19, yep. 17-18, yep. So yeah, it's been going on 4 years since he's played in the NHL and has had over a 900 save percentage. 80 overall, baby. 80 overall. Of course, that's not to mention the duplicates that are on the free agent list, because they're also in European leagues, the overratings, the options for players who are likely to still be retired on this free agent list. It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. This is why I roster edit, because again, it's honestly just not worth relying on them to do what needs to be done with these. It's just from the overalls, the potentials. I haven't even looked through the AHL. I'm just kind of scrolling through right now to see if they've added in players that weren't there at the beginning of the year, and it looks like they still haven't even been allowed to do that. Hey, Jeremy Brodeur's in. Okay, that's one player that they added back in. Jeremy Brodeur back in the game. You'll love to see it. It's just not good. And Nick Rivera was added in too, so that's cool. It's just not good, guys. It's just not. And I'm afraid to look at SHL prospects. I'm afraid to look at junior level prospects here. Let's see how long it takes me to find a good example of an absurd rating. It's actually taking longer than I expected, so that's pretty cool. Oh, you know who we need to check? Let's check Jack Quinn to see if he's still a low top 9. Is Jack Quinn still a low top 9? Hey! Well, guys, we got an updated Jack Quinn rating. So it's not all bad. They paid some attention to it, I suppose. I still think the majority of the ratings, of course, at the NHL and AHL level are pretty brutal. But hey, we can't say they didn't pay some attention to it. Junior league level players look like they actually got a little bit of love here. Not Jacob Perreault. Jacob Perreault can kick rocks as a first-round pick, apparently. So not him. So, hey, is it completely brutal? No. Is it better than the old Bret Hart 4 out of 10? I don't know if I can say that. Jamie Drysdale, top 5 pick, still a medium top 4. 4 out of 10 for this update. For the sake of getting all the players into the right spots, updating some prospects, but the rest of it, why even bother waiting for the update? It's not good. Not good. For the record, roster updating process, I have just finished editing Rochester and the Buffalo Sabres, which means by the time you're seeing this, I just have to edit Rockford to Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, and then, of course, we'll be getting into the test runs on Twitch, and then the new series will start very soon. So by the end of this month, we have new franchise mode series coming up on this channel, so hopefully you're excited for that. I'm excited for it to see how everything plays out. Shout out to that car in the background. 4 out of 10 roster update at best.